Etsy can shut you down at any time, and once that happens, all of the money that you're making to take care of yourself and your family is just gone. In this video, I'm going to give you a detailed tutorial on how to set up a Shopify store from scratch. You may have seen some of my Etsy videos, but if you have, you know that I'm not a fan of putting all of your eggs in that Etsy basket. You need to have another way to sell your products, and Shopify is a good way to do that. Now, if you're totally dependent on Etsy, Etsy could shut you down at any time. And most of the time, if that happens, you have no idea why. You get an email and there's not even someone you can contact that can help you. So all of the money that you're making to take care of yourself and your family is just gone. So I recommend selling on Etsy, but also having your own store. And the e-commerce platform that I use is Shopify. Shopify is user-friendly and easy to set up. They also have apps that you can add to your store when you want to add more features. With this tutorial, you'll be able to set up your Shopify store yourself. There's no need to pay anyone else to do it for you, or even worse, no need to only sell on Etsy and not have your own store because you think it's too complicated to do it yourself. You don't need any special skills, just time, patience, and this video. I'm all about reducing anxiety, so trust me, it's going to be simple and you can do it. I'm going to include chapters and timestamps so you can jump around as needed. These are going to be really helpful because my tutorial videos are usually pretty long. Alright, let's dive in. For the rest of the video, you're going to be watching my computer screen as I go through the process of setting up a Shopify store from scratch. To sign up for your Shopify account, you're going to use the link that I have in the description. You're going to be taken to a page where you have to enter in your email address. Depending on when you watch this video, the page may not look the same, but the premise is going to be the same. You're going to enter in your email address, and then you're going to click on Start Free Trial. Next, it's going to tell you to create a Shopify account. You can sign up with email, sign up with Apple, sign up with Facebook, or sign up with Google. And I'm going to choose Sign Up with Google. And you'll see that Shopify is now creating my account. My account is now created and we see Welcome to Shopify, and it's going to ask me a few questions. For this tutorial, I'm going to click on I don't want help setting up. Shopify suggests that you add your products, then set up your online store, configure your store settings, and then launch your online store. Before we move into setting up our store, I'd like to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Relay. Relay is a no-fee online banking and money management platform built for e-commerce. It helps business owners manage their cash flow and know exactly what they're earning, spending, and saving without having to step foot into a bank. Relay directly integrates with Shopify, so your store revenue can directly flow into your Relay account. You can open an account online in less than 10 minutes. And just like this tutorial, I have a video that will walk you step by step through the process. What I love about Relay is you can pretty much do everything you need to do yourself without going into a bank or having to talk with someone on the phone. But if you do need help, Relay's friendly and knowledgeable customer support team is available by email and chat. You can set up new checking accounts and issue virtual cards in a click from inside your online Relay account. You can also bank on the go with the Relay app. Relay gives you the ability to create up to 20 individual accounts, including 2 savings accounts. You can use these accounts to organize income, expenses, and cash reserves. For example, you can have money from your Etsy shop go into one account and money from your Shopify store go into another. You can create dedicated accounts for single-purpose expenses like operations or marketing, or accounts to set aside money for critical needs like taxes. You can even allocate cash to any account on a percentage or dollar basis. You can issue up to 50 Visa debit cards to the business and team members. Each card has a unique spending limit to keep budgets on track and provides ultra-detailed banking data for every purchase. Relay integrates with well-known payment providers like PayPal, Stripe, and Square, and you can send and receive ACH transfers, domestic and international wires, and checks. With all of the benefits I just mentioned, the icing on the cake is Relay has no account fees or minimum balances. Relay business banking accounts do not have any monthly fees, overdraft fees, or minimum balance requirements. For a limited time, Relay will give you $100 when you open a new Relay account and fund it with $100. In order to qualify, you have to not already have a Relay account, meaning you are a new Relay customer, and you have to deposit at least $100 into your Relay account. Let me clarify. You do not need to deposit $100 to open an account with Relay. Relay does not require a minimum balance. But to qualify for this promotion, you have to deposit at least $100 into your new Relay account. Not taking advantage of this promotion is just leaving free money on the table. Look down in the description right now to see if you still have time to qualify for this promotion. If you want to know more about Relay, you can watch the videos I have linked in the description. But if you can already see how Relay is going to help you manage the cash flow of your new Shopify store, you can use the link at the top of the description to sign up for Relay right now. It only takes about 10 minutes and you can come right back and jump into this tutorial. Here's a hint. You can use your Relay account information when you're setting up your payment options later in the tutorial. To add your first product, we're going to go to Products in the side menu, and then we're going to click on Add Product. The first thing we're going to do is give our product a title. And for this tutorial, I'm just going to add one of my sweatshirts from my Etsy shop. The next thing we're going to do is add a description. For the sake of just getting started, enter in one sentence that describes your product, and then you can go back and add in more details for SEO purposes. In the next section, you need to add your media or your photos. I'm going to click on Upload New, and I'm going to choose a photo of my XOXO glitter sweatshirt. So this is a sweatshirt that I'm already selling on Etsy, so I already have multiple mock-ups available. But when just starting out, you might only have one mock-up photo, and that's okay while we're setting up our shop. Now we're going to move down to pricing. Now here is where we put the price of our item, and I'm just going to price this sweatshirt at $40. And then we can also put in a compare at price. Adding in a compare at price is just like running a sale. So when your website visitors look at your item, they'll see the compare at price, which might be $50. And it'll look like we're running the item for sale, which would be $40. If we want to charge tax for our item, we'll leave the charge tax on this product box checked, and then we'll move down to cost per item. The cost per item, profit, and margin are for your benefits only. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to leave these items blank. Then we're going to move down to inventory. In the inventory section, we can decide whether we want to track inventory or not. And this is totally going to depend on how you are going to run your business. So for me, I'm going to leave on track inventory. And then I'm going to say the quantity that I have on hand is 50. The next two options are where you say whether you want to continue selling when out of stock and if this product has a SKU or barcode. So continuous selling when out of stock means that as people continue to buy this item and this number 50 here goes down to 0, will the item show as out of stock on my website? And there are no wrong answers here. It's really going to depend on your business. So for me, I'm going to say I do not want to continue selling when out of stock. So when the 50 sweatshirts are gone, I want my website to show them as out of stock. And then to keep things simple, I'm not going to add any product SKUs or barcodes. So let's move down to shipping. Now here you're going to say whether you have a physical product, and I'm selling a sweatshirt, so that is a physical product. And for my sweatshirts, I'm going to enter in £1. Now you can also go in and add customs information about your item if you're going to be selling outside of the US or whatever country you're located in, but I won't go into that detail in this video. And then we're going to go down to the variant section. A variant is different options for your product. So for me, I'm selling a sweatshirt, so my different variants might be size and color. And you can see here Shopify gives you a hint on the types of variants that you have. But depending on what you sell, your variants could be different. For example, if you're selling beauty items like lipsticks, you might have variants as different colors. If you're selling perfume, your variants might be different sizes. So I'm going to click on Add Options like size or color. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do sizes because this is a shirt. And then in the option values, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put in my sizes. And I'm going to put in an extra small, a small, a medium, a large, an extra large, a 2X, a 3X, and a 4X. And then I'm going to click on Done when I'm done adding those different variants. And then the next thing I need to do is add another option because I have size, but now I want to add color. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to choose the color option, and then I'm going to enter in my different colors. So I know I sell this sweatshirt in white. I sell it in pink. I sell it in hot pink. And I sell it in red. So I'm going to click on Done. So now I have two variants. I have size and I have color. And if you see here, you can see that Shopify is creating all of our different variants. So I have an extra small white, an extra small pink, an extra small hot pink, and an extra small red. And I'll have each one of those different colors in each one of the sizes. So going small all the way down to 4X. Now, you can also see that the quantity available, that 50 that I entered, is now only showing for the extra small white, which was just the first variant. And all of my other variants are showing a quantity of 0, meaning they will not be available. Now, we'll need to go in and edit our available quantities for each one of our variants, but we can do that at a later time. So we're going to scroll down. And then Shopify will show us what our search engine listing is going to look like for the product that we just added. So what we're going to do now is just go ahead and hit save. We get a note that says, congratulations, we've added our first product, and we can continue setting up our store. And you can see now we're back to our guided setup, and we have a check mark because we have added our first product. In this section, we're going to set up our collections. And you can think of a collection as a grouping of products. Your collections are going to be determined by the type of products that you sell in your store. Here's an example. If I have an apparel store, my collections could be men and women, or I could break my collections out in sweatshirts and hoodies and t-shirts. So think about it just groupings of products. So we're going to start from the main menu, and we're going to go down to products, and then we're going to select collections. And here you can see we're set up with an automatic collection of our home page, but we want to create a new collection. We're going to go up to the top and click on Create Collection. And then we're going to give our collection a name. In this store, the first product that we entered was a sweatshirt. So let's make a collection for sweatshirts and hoodies. And when we create our collection, we add a title, and then we can also add a description if we want to. For this case, I won't add a description. We'll move down and we can choose our collection type. And we have two collection types. We have manual, meaning we can add products to this collection one by one, meaning manually say we want an item to go in that collection. Or we can choose automated. If we choose automated, then products will be automatically assigned to a category based on the tags that we add to our products. So in this example, we're going to choose automated. And then we're going to look at the conditions that must be met before an item is placed in this category. And you can say whether the product must match all of the conditions that you enter or any of the conditions that you enter. And I'm just going to choose any. And I'm going to say that if I have a product tag that is equal to sweatshirt, then I want it to be added to this category. I'm also going to add another one because my category is for, or my collection is for sweatshirts and hoodies. I'm going to say if my product tag is equal to hoodie, then add it to this collection. And then I can also add a description for my search engines. And this is if I want my collection page to be searchable in search engines. You can also add an image to your collection, and this is helpful when your collection is going to be a page that you want visitors to go to on your site. So for example, you might want to have a page that has a list of your most popular collections, and that page could have an image going across the top, and that would be the image that you have in this section right here. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're not going to worry about adding an image, and we're just going to hit save. And here we have our sweatshirts and hoodie collection. I'm going to choose this arrow to go back. And then I'm going to add one more collection, and that's going to be my new arrivals. I'm going to say create collection. I am going to name it new arrivals. And for this collection, I'm going to make it manual. So when I create a product and I want it to be added to this collection, I'm going to add it to this collection manually. I'm not going to add an image now, and then I'm just going to hit save. My new arrivals collection has been saved. I'm going to click on this arrow to go back. So now I have 3 collections here. I have the default homepage collection, I have sweatshirts and hoodies, and I have new arrivals. As I continue to add products to my store, I would go in and add different collections. But for right now, we're going to stick with these 2. One pro tip for setting up your collections, think about how you might want a person to navigate through your site. And if you're having trouble thinking about the navigation, then find a store on the internet that's similar to the type of store that you're trying to set up. In this section, we're going to set up our online store. We're going to start by going to the left side menu, going down to Sales Channels, and clicking on Online Store. The first thing we need to do is choose a theme. I'd also like you to note that your online store is password protected at this point. You can remove the password by picking a plan, but we're not going to worry about that step yet. Shopify sets up your store with a default theme, and at this point, that default theme is Dawn. So you can see here, Dawn is the current theme that's applied to your account. We can do one of 2 things. We can leave Dawn as our current theme and customize that theme, or we can scroll down and look at some of the other free themes that Shopify has available. So you can see here that Shopify is showing you a number of their popular free themes. We've got the Dawn theme, Spotlight, Refresh, Scents, and Craft. You can also explore more themes by visiting the theme store. Once in the theme store, you can browse by free or paid themes, and it's okay to stick with free themes when you're just getting started. You can also browse themes by industry. You can browse through the different themes by industry that might be compatible to your store. So here are a few free themes that are in the clothing industry. We've got Dawn, Publisher, and Spotlight. But let's say you're going to be selling electronics. Then you have Ride, Publisher, and Color Block. Take some time here to pause the video and scroll around and look at the different themes. Choose a theme that speaks to you. Don't take too long here because you can always change your theme. And the customizations that you make to a theme can be transferred to a new theme at any time. So choose one that speaks to you just to get you going through this tutorial. We're going to move forward using the Dawn theme. So let's go back over to our online store. We're going to click on Customize so we can start customizing our theme and building out our store. In this area of the site, we can customize our theme. In the top left corner, you can see that we're on the Dawn theme, and you can see that it is live. Moving across this top banner, you can see that we're in the default view. So you have default, international, and United States. You can just go ahead and leave it on default. And you can see that we're working on designing our home page. If you click on this drop down, you can see we can move from our home page to our products page, to our collections page, to our collections list. You can go to other pages and blog posts if you choose to use those. And then you can also go and design your cart and your checkout. But we're going to start with our home page. You can also view how your site would look on different types of devices. So right now we're looking at how our site would look on a desktop device. We can click this icon right here and look at how our site would look on a mobile device. And then we could move to a full screen view by clicking on this icon right here. So I'm going to move back to desktop. Now Shopify makes it really easy for us to customize the different sections of the site. So you can see here we had home page selected. If we go back over here to this left-hand menu, we can see that we're on the home page. And then we see the different sections of our home page. We have our header. We have an announcement bar. We have the full header. We have the template, which consists of an image banner that has browse our latest product text on it, a button. We can also add different blocks in this area. We have a featured collection, and then we can also add different sections, and then we have our footer. And you can see how as I hover over these different items, the view in the center area of the screen changes. So as I hover over the footer, I can go see the footer. If I hover over the image banner, it takes me and highlights the image banner. So you always have a clue to what part of the page you're working on. So we're going to go back to the top, and we're just going to start with the header and move down the list. So the first thing we're going to work on is the announcement bar. Now the announcement bar is where you can put in information about any sales you might be running. So 50% off sale for the new year because it's now January of 2024. Or you can say, like they have here, welcome to our store, or free shipping in the domestic US, anything you want to put here. You can also customize the look of your announcement bar. The first option here is to edit the color scheme. And you can click on this button where it says change, and you can see 5 different options for the color scheme. And just clicking on each one, you can see how the top announcement bar is changing. And so let's leave it on scheme 5 for now. You can decide whether you want to show a separator line. And if you don't want a separator line, all you have to do is uncheck that box, or you can keep it selected. We're going to scroll down and you can see where you can add your social media icons. So you can decide to show those or hide those. If I click the checkbox here, it'll show the social media icons, and it'll show those icons once you set those up, and I'll show you where to set those up later in the tutorial. And then you have to auto rotate announcements. So you can check this box and it will rotate your announcement bar, and you can change the time period. So every 5 seconds, but I'm just going to leave this unchecked. Next, you have your country/region selector, and you can enable this country/region selector or leave it disabled. To enable it, you just select the checkbox. I'm going to leave mine unselected. And then you also have a language selector, and you can enable that by clicking on this checkbox. We're going to go down and continue into the theme settings. I'm just going to click on this arrow right here, scroll down. And this is where you can go in and put in your links to your social media. So you can put in your Facebook link, your Instagram, your YouTube, your TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, and Snapchat. And if you don't want any of these to show, you can just remove the text that's in the box. So right now you can see that Shopify is pointing to all of its social media platforms. So you would just replace these with your own. So we're going to close this section and then go down to custom CSS. And this is where if you're a designer, you can go in and make customizations to this theme. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're all beginners, so we're not going to worry about the custom CSS section. So we're going to scroll back up And then we're going to use this arrow right here to go back, and we're going to change the text that's in our announcement bar. And to do that, we're just going to click right here where it says welcome to our store. And then we're going to change this text. And now we have free shipping when you spend $50. And then you can also add in a link if you'd like to. So there's a lot that you can do with this announcement bar in your shop. So you can talk about your sales, and you can also add links to send your visitors to pages that you want them to go to. But for here, we just want to let them know that they get free shipping when they spend $50. So I'm going to go back to this arrow right here and go back. And then you can also add additional announcements to your announcement bar if you choose to. Next, we're going to go down to the header section. And again, if I hover over the header, you can see the area of your site that you're going to be editing or customizing. And if we scroll over a little bit and click on this eyeball, we can show or hide that section. So if I click on this eyeball, you can see that my header disappears. So if you ever have a section on this page that you want to hide for a period of time because it's not relevant, maybe in a particular season, you don't have to delete that section from your design. You can simply hide it. So I'm going to pull our header back because we definitely want to see our store name and our top level navigation. So for now, this is all we're going to do to our header. So we're going to move down to the image banner. So if we hover over image banner, we can see that our image banner is this picture right here. And this is our main picture on our home page. So we definitely want to add a photo here. This template gives us the option to add 2 images. So you'll see a placeholder here for the first image and a placeholder for the second image. Within each placeholder, you can see that you can select your own custom image, or you can explore free images that are available for you to use. So right now, we're going to select Explore Free Images just so you can see some of the options that Shopify is going to give you for free. So here we can browse the free themes, and we have different categories. We have staff favorites, shop local, women's fashion, fall, and so on. I'm going to look for some pictures that would be a good representation of my brand and what I sell. So remember, my first image was a sweatshirt. So we're kind of selling sweatshirts or women's apparel or apparel in general. So I'm just going to look around, and I'm going to start off in women's fashion and see if I see anything here. So as I click through, if I want to see what the image is going to look like on my site, I can hover over it and click it, and then I can preview what it's going to look like on my website. So I think this one is pretty interesting. It is a shirt in the picture and some jeans, and it's kind of boho and rustic like I like. So I'm going to choose this image, and to choose this image, I'm just going to go down here and hit select. And this is going to take me back to my image banner page where I was choosing my first image. And I'm going to scroll down, and for the second image, I'm just going to show you how you can add in any custom images you have. Let's say you already have images that you use in your Shopify store, or you want to design something custom in Canva, and how you can add that image here. So in the second image, to do that, all you would do is select image, and then you'll be taken to your image library, and then you can click on add images and then choose an image from your computer. So I'm going to cancel out here because I do not want to add a second image. And then I'm going to scroll down and just show you some other things that you can do with your images. Now, the first thing I want to show you here is image overlay. And you can see how there's a dark tone over this image. If I drag it down to 10%, you can see how my image is going to get a lot lighter. And then if I take it up to 70%, you can see that my image gets a lot darker. And this can be helpful when you're choosing different colors of text to add over your image banner. But I liked it at 40%, so I'm going to put it back there. And then you can also choose different heights for your image banner. So right now it is set to large. So I'm going to go in here and change it to small. And you see how I get a different look with a different focal point on that image. And I can change it to medium, which gives me a slightly larger look. Or I can go all the way back to large, which will be the full look of the image. And then I can also go here and set the desktop content position. So right now it's set to bottom center. And you have lots of options. You can go middle right. And you say, this is just going to change the position of the text. So I'm going to go back to bottom center. So you can play around with this and move this text to any location on this image banner that you like. So I'm going to continue to scroll down, and then you have desktop content alignment. So you can click on left and see where the button goes. You can click on center and you can click on right. So I'm going to go back to center. What I want you to notice here is that as you go through each of these options, just click around and see what changes happen and choose the location or the change that you like for your site. I wouldn't overthink this. You can leave it as is. You can pick an option, but just know that you don't have to live with this change. If you want to change it, you can always come back here and make any changes at any time. So we're going to continue to go through the options. You have where you can change the color scheme. And just like with our announcement bar, you can go in and click on change. And then you could go to color scheme 5, color scheme 2, and you can see how the text color is changing. Color scheme 1. But I'm going to go back to color scheme 3 because on this image, I really like the white text. Then we can go down and we have animations and we have image behavior. So we click in, we can have an ambient movement, we can have fixed background position, or we can have zoom in scroll. So if we click on ambient movement, it's going to make that change and you can see how it is slightly moving. Then if we click on fixed background position, you can see how as I scroll, the image stays in the same location. So I'm going to go back to none and scroll. So you can see how everything scrolls. The image scrolls with the text. So I thought that the ambient movement was pretty interesting. So I'm going to go to that option. And then next we're going to go down to our mobile layout. And so in this area, you can see your mobile content alignment where you can choose left, center, or right. And to view this, we're going to go and change our view to mobile. And then we're going to click on left and we can see what happens with that shop all button. We can go to center and we can go to right. And you can see how all our text and our button went right justified. So I was okay with center. And then you can choose to stack images on mobile or show container on mobile. And I'm going to leave both of these unchecked. And now we're going to continue down and go into our theme settings. If I click here, I can see an option to reveal sections on scroll, and that is selected. And I'm okay with leaving that selected right now. And then we got the custom CSS setting. And again, we're beginners, so we're not going to worry about customizing any code. So I'm going to go back and take us into desktop view. And so we have made those changes with our image banner. But now we want to go and we want to change this text that says browse our latest products. And I'm going to hit the back button right here. And now we're back to our header. And just like with our announcement bar, we can go in and edit this text. But this time, I'm going to edit it by just clicking on the screen. I'm going to click in this heading right here, and you can see how it'll take me to the location where I can change this text, and I can bold the text, I can use italic, and again, I can also insert a link. And then I also have different size options. We're on large right now. We can go to medium, or we can go to small. So I'm going to go back to large. So I'm going to change this text and I'm just going to enter shop our new arrivals. And then I'm going to go here to go back. So now let's look at how much we've done so far. We have our top banner, which says free shipping when you spend $50. We have our header, which we haven't made any changes to, but we're going to get to that when we start working on our navigation and adding our store name. We have our image banner, where we selected a free image, but we know that we can choose any image that we like here. We're going to say shop our new arrivals, and then we're okay with this shop all button. But we can also edit this button if we want to. So just for the sake of showing you how to do that, I'm just going to click on this button, and you can see where I'm instantly taken to the area where I can edit this button. And instead of shop all, I'm going to say shop now. And we have to add in where we want the person to go when they click on the button. And so we're going to add the first button link. And right now it's set to go to all products, but we could change that by sending it to a collection or a specific product or pages. We can also send them to blog posts and policies. But for right now, we'll just leave this set to go to all products. And you can come back in and change this later. You can see how we also have the option to add in a second button if you'd like to do that. But for right now, I think it's okay if we leave it with one button that gives our visitor one location to go to shop and browse our new arrivals. So now that we're done with this button section, I'm going to click back here. And then now we have our shop new arrivals on our image banner and then our shop now button. So now we're going to move down to the next section, and I'm just going to scroll down here, and you can see our next section is featured products. And this should look familiar. This was the first product that we created when we were setting up our store. And you can see here that featured collection is highlighted, and featured collection is also highlighted over here on our left navigation pane. So I'm just going to click in featured collection so we can look at our different options. The first option we have to edit here is our heading. So instead of calling it featured products, we could change this. And let's say I wanted this to say new arrivals. I can also change the size. I can go from small to medium to large. I think I like small. And then we can also add a description here. So I can say new items just enter our shop. We can give our description a style. So we can say body, a subtitle, or make it uppercase. So you just have lots of options on changing how you want this to be seen. And me, I don't normally have a description to my sections, so I'm just going to pull this out. Now we can scroll down and we can see that we can choose the collection that shows here. So right now it's set to all, but as we configure our site and start adding more and more products, we can categorize our products into collections. And normally one of my collections is new arrivals. And that's where I'm going to house all of the new items that I want to highlight in my store. Now let's go back over here and look at some of the other options we have. We can show in this section how many products we want to show. And right now it's set to 8. And we can select the number of columns we want to appear when our browser is looking via a desktop. So right here, we have it set to show 8 products, and we have it set to show 4 columns. And you can't see that because we only have one product set up here. But as you add more products, you will go in here and say how many products you want to show in this section of your homepage. Now we'll continue to scroll down. You have enable view all if the connection has more than shown. So let's say if I change this and said, well, I only want you to show 4 columns, but I only want you to show 4 products, which means that you'll see only 4 images here, and then the rest of the collection is hidden. If that's the case, then you'd like to enable view all. So if there are more than 4 products, there'll be a button here that says view all, and your visitor or your browser can go and view the rest of your new arrivals or whatever collection you're featuring here. And as we continue down, you can choose the style of your view all button. It can be a solid button, an outline button, or a link. It could be a carousel on a desktop, and then you can also change the color scheme. And this should look familiar. You can click on this change and you can choose the color scheme that you'd like to go with. Now we'll keep going down and we'll get to product card. So in product card, you can change your image ratio. So you can have it adapt to the image. So let's look at this image right here and watch what happens when we change our image ratio. So I'm going to go to portrait. You see how it gets a little larger and goes into a portrait style. We can go with square, and you see now the image is square. So you can choose which one of these look best for your site. So I'm going to keep it on square. And then we can go with image shape. So we have a default shape. We have an arch, a blob, a chevron, diamond, parallelogram, and round. So you've got a lot of choices with how you show your images. So I'm just going to go back to default because I like the default square. I'm pretty minimalist and basic, but feel free to go wild here and design a unique store to you. As we keep going down, we can say show second image over hover. So you can see how if I hover over this image, it's showing the second image that I have in my product mock-up photos. And to make it stop doing that, you can just uncheck this box and you can see how now you just kind of get a slight zoom effect. And I think I like that. Maybe that slight zoom effect instead of going to my second image. You can say show vendor. And right now the vendor is my store. Let's say you use different vendors and you wanted to show your customers that. I usually don't use that option. So I'm going to uncheck that. And then you can show your product rating. So if you have ratings displayed where people go in and rate your products, you can go and show that on this page. I'm going to uncheck that. And then you can also enable a quick add button so you can go and choose your options for this item and your user can add this item to their cart from your home page. So that's pretty cool. It just depends on whether you want a kind of busier look to your home page or if you want to keep it clean where your customer has to click on the image, go and view the details, and then add to cart. It's really going to depend on the user experience you want to set up for your store and the type of things that you're selling. So let's say if you are going to put a lot of time into your product page because you really want your product page to sell that item for you, then you might want to allow the customer to go over to that product page so they can see the items and the features and the benefits of your products so they can decide whether they want to buy or not. If you wanted a user experience to where a customer could quickly add things to their cart, meaning it's not something that they really need to think about, there's not a lot of options, it's kind of obvious, I want this, I want to add it to my cart, and I want to go quickly, then you could add that enable quick add button to your homepage. It's pretty much up to you. And then next we're going to go down to our mobile layout, and you can choose the number of columns on mobile. So again, we're going to go to mobile view and you can go 2 columns or 1 column. It's kind of hard to see here because I only have 1 product here. So we were set on 2 columns. And then we can enable swipe on mobile. And if we enable that, if we have multiple pictures here, your site visitor could swipe on their phone and go through your various mock-up photos. And if we scroll down, we can look at the section padding. So you can add padding to the top and the bottom of your pictures. So I'm going to go back to desktop view. And again, it's on 44 now. And you can see how we can just add a little padding and it will change the look of your site. Again, you can go into theme settings and you should notice some repetitiveness when we go into these different options. There'll always be theme settings that you can edit and the custom CSS. So let's look at what the theme settings are for this section. So our theme settings here are reveal sections on scroll, and that's selected by default. So why not leave it there until I start using my site and decide whether or not I like that. And then you can also choose a style, and your options are standard and card. And then you also have your color scheme settings. And all of these are falling under our mobile layout. So let me go back to mobile, and so maybe we can see some of those things. So we got standard or card. We can make that change, and then we can change our color scheme. So you can see how on card, now I have this black bar here down on the bottom. And now my bar is going to change blue. On standard, you can see how that looks. So I'm going to go back. Let's go to 3 and let's go to card. I kind of like the look of my text being in that black square at the bottom. And then we can also show currency codes. If I uncheck this, you can see the currency changing. So again, we're not going to go to custom CSS, and we're also going to go back to desktop view. And if we like what we've done in this section, which is our featured collection section, we're going to use this arrow to go back. And now if we scroll down, we see our next section is our footer. Now, I also want to add that within this template, you have the options to add different sections. So right now, our home page has an image banner, a header, an image banner, and then a featured collection. And then we have our footer, which has our subscribe to our email, so where we add an email list and some other options. But if we wanted another section in here, we would just click on Add Section, and then we see some different options. We can add additional featured collections. We can add a featured product. We can add a list of collections. We can add some text to the screen. We can add an image with text. We can also add another image banner if we like. We have the option to add a slideshow, a collage, multiple columns, multiple rows. We can add collapsible content. So let's say if you had a frequently asked questions section that you wanted to add to your homepage. You've got your email sign up, which we already have in our footer. You can add a contact form to your homepage, a video, and you can also add a blog posts, some custom liquid, and then you can add a particular page's content to your homepage. So you've got a lot of options of what you can add on your homepage to spice it up and make your site look how you want it to look. That's the cool thing about having a Shopify store or your own custom store. You don't have to stick with the flow of, let's say, an Etsy listing where everybody's page looks the same. You can design your homepage to look however you want it to look. So now let's go down to our footer and let's make some changes in our footer. So right now we have our footer, and you can see we have our email sign up, and you can choose to show or hide that. And it's always a good idea to have an email list connected to your store, and you can go and learn more about setting up your email list and how you're going to collect those emails. It's always a good idea to have an email list connected with your store so you can reach out to your customers and add value to them and sell to them later. Now going back to the top, we can go in and again change the color scheme. So let's say we go and we can make it, this is kind of a navy blue color. We can go and we can make it black. And again, any of these schemes, we can always go in and change them. So we can do quick branding to our site. But for me, I think I had a blue bar at the top. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put in a blue bottom for my footer. Now we can scroll down, and next we have our email sign up. And so right now we have subscribed to our emails, but if we wanted to change this, we can say join our email list. And let's go ahead and capitalize that O. And then we can also make this text bold. So join our email list. And then there's a place where your user can enter in their email address. You can also select Enable Follow on Shop, and this allows customers to follow your store on the Shop app from your storefront. And in order to do this, you have to have Shop Pay enabled. Now, we haven't talked about payment processors, but Shop Pay is how you will allow people to pay you using credit cards or debit cards. Then we'll scroll down and you can say whether you want to show or hide your social media icons once you have those set up. And then again, you can enable the country and region selector. And you can also enable or disable the language selector. Next, you have where you can show your different payment icons. So I'm going to uncheck this and you'll see that the PayPal and the Venmo icon disappeared. And as we go and do more settings, we'll see different payment options. So this is just showing that right now we're only set up to do PayPal and Venmo. But as we add Shop Pay, then we'll see different payment icons or payment methods shown down here. And it's always a good idea to show people how they can pay for your items. And then we can say show policy links. And policy links are things like your shipping policies or your privacy policy. And all of your policies just add legitimacy to your site. Customers want to feel like you are a real business and they have some protection and they know your policies and procedures. So it's a good idea to add those policies to your footer. So we'll just click on show policy links, and then I'll show you a little later in the tutorial how you go in and set up those policies. But for now, let's just say that we want them to show in our footer. Next, you have spacing, and you can put in whether you want a top margin over your footer. You can put in section padding, and then again, you have the theme settings. So in theme settings, you can go in, and this takes us back to the same theme settings that we saw a little earlier where we could put in our socials. So again, your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and all of those will show if you have the social media icons button selected. Now we're going to move away from our footer. We're just going to go back. And now we have the basic sections of our home page set up. So what we're going to do now is hit save because we want to save all of the changes that we've made so far. Now, if we want to see what this will look like on our shop, we can go over and click on these three dots, and then we can click on view. And this will open a new tab and show us what our site will look like on desktop to a new visitor. Now, if you see things that you want to change here, again, you can go in, change your picture, change text. Maybe you don't want this image to be big. I think we have it set to large. Maybe you want it set to medium. You can go in and change that. And then as you add more products, you'll see how this section will fill out. And then if you want to add just more spice to your homepage, you can add more sections. But this is how you view and see how your progress is going. So you can always see your progress as you're designing, but let's say if you want to look at it, how a visitor is going to see it, you can go in and view it in a different tab. In this section, we're going to edit our product page. So we're going to go back to this top menu. We're going to select this drop down and we're going to go down to products. We can use a default product page, which will be assigned to all of our products in the shop, or we can create different product page templates for different types of products in our shop. But for now, we're going to keep it simple and we're going to use a default product page. So now we're looking at our product page and how the template is set up for the Dawn theme right out of the box. So as you can see here, we're still able to see our announcement bar. We have our header. And then we have your store name, the title of your item, you have the price, you have the variant picker, and the variants we have for this sweatshirt are the size and the color. You have the quantity of the item, you have an add to cart button, a buy it now button. You can see we have our different item photos or mock-ups. And then we have our description And then we're down to our footer, where again, we have our email list, our payment methods, and our store policies are down there because we set that up when we were setting up our homepage. Now we can go in and we can change some of these items if we want to. So I'm just going to scroll back up to the top, and I'm going to click on this text where it says My Store. Now, this is where we're showing the vendor, and I don't want to see the vendor here in my store. My store is branded, everything is by me, so I do not need to see separate vendors here. So what I'm going to do is just delete this, and you can see how that My Store text is now gone. So I'm going to go back, and then as I look through here, I'm okay with the title, I'm okay with the price, and I like all of these selections. Now, as you can see here, you see that pink, hot pink, and red are crossed out, and that's because we don't have any stock in those areas. So that's letting you know what it's going to look like when you do not have any stock. But let's click on this variant picker, and you can see how you can go in and make changes. So you can have it as peels, which are these kind of oval circles, or you can have the variant show as drop-down boxes. So where the customer would go in, select the drop-down box, and then select the size and the color. So I'm going to go back because I think the peels are pretty cute listed out. So I like that. But as you go through the different options, you can go in and see what things you can customize for that option. So right here, this is just the text that was above the title that we deleted. Then you have your actual title, and you see there are no customizations available for the actual title. So if we go look under price, there are no customizations available for price. And you can just click through this list and see what things you can edit. And down here, this is where you can say whether you want to be able to share this listing with someone else, which is a really good feature. Think about when you're shopping on Amazon and you want to send that Amazon item to somebody, you click on that share button, and if you're on your phone, it opens up and allows you to send that person a text link of that item. If you're on your desktop or your laptop, you can send them an email. So the share button is something that you definitely want to leave on your site so people can share your items with their friends and family. So I'm just going to go back. So now on our product page, it's not much that we want to edit here in the way of design of the page. Shopify did a really good job in the Dawn theme of giving you a really crisp and clean product page. But again, if you want to make any changes, you can do that. And just like on our homepage, if you want to add a section, you can add any of these items onto your product page as sections. So you have the ability to customize this page to look any way you want it to look. But once you get the page how you want it, we're just going to go and click Save. And now we have our product page customized. Now we can go in and make changes to other pages on our site as well. If we click on this drop down, we can go in and make changes to pages or our collections list, our cart, and our checkout. But for now, we're going to leave these pages as is because we're going to depend on the experience of the developers of the Dawn site. Now, as we start using our site, we'll go in and start making customizations. But just starting out, we're going to rely on their expertise and we're going to leave those pages as is. In this section, we're going to set up the navigation for our site. So starting from our main menu, we're going to go down to our sales channel of our online store. Once we're in our online store, we're going to see an expanded menu and we're going to go down to navigation. Once we're on the navigation screen, we're going to be reminded that our store is password protected, and we're okay with that because we're still working on our store and we don't want visitors to go to our store at this time. What we want to focus on this page is our menus. And you can see here we have a footer menu and a main menu. We're going to start with our main menu. This is the menu that shows at the top of our store. So I'm going to click on main menu here so we can edit it. Our main menu setup is our home page, a catalog page, which is all of the products in our store, and then a contact page. We're okay with our home page, but we're going to go and edit this catalog page. So we're going to click on Edit here. Instead of catalog, we're going to say Shop All because that's more descriptive. And we're going to leave the link to this menu item as all of our products. Next, we're going to hit Apply Changes. Now, we also want our visitors to easily get to our new arrivals. So we're going to click on Add Menu Item. And then this is going to be New Arrivals. And now we need to add a link to our New Arrivals collection. So we're going to click into Search or Paste a Link. And then we're going to get a list of options of link types that we can add to this menu item. So we can link to our home page, a search page, a collection, a specific product. We can link to pages, blogs, posts, or policies. But here we want to go to a collection. So we're going to click on Collections, and then we'll see a list of collections that we currently have set up on our store. So this is New Arrivals, so we're going to go to the New Arrivals collections. Now, we can also filter through a collection because collections can have a parent and child levels. But for here, we just have a collection called New Arrivals, so we don't want to do any type of filtering. Once we're happy here, we're going to click Add. Now we have a new menu item of our new arrivals. But we don't necessarily want to use this order. So now we're going to drag our menu items in the order that we want them to be. So I'm going to hover over these dots, and you can see how they highlight. And once I'm hovered over the dots, this means that I can drag these menu items into any order I want them to be in. So I'm going to take New Arrivals, and I want that to be right after my home page. And then I want visitors to be able to shop all of my collections. And then I would like for them to get to our contact page. As you develop your store, your menu items might change, but when you're just getting started, this is a pretty good basic main menu. So I'm going to go over here and click Save Menu. Now we're good with our main menu, so we're going to click on the arrow that will take us back. Now we're back to navigation, and you can see that now our main menu says Home, New Arrivals, Shop All, and Contact. The next thing we're going to edit is our footer menu. We do need to edit our footer menu because right now the only thing we have there is a search option, but there are a few pages that we need to create for our footer menu before we can go in and add them into our footer. So we're going to come back later and edit our footer menu. Now that we have our main menu how we want it, let's go back to our theme and look at how it's going to appear in our store. So we're going to go back over to our side main menu, and we're going to click on Themes. And then just as we did when we were initially setting up our store, we're going to go into our current theme and select Customize. And now we're viewing our home page, and we can see that our main menu now says Home, New Arrivals, Shop All, and Contact. In this section, we're going to edit our online store preferences. We're going to go to our online store, and then we're going to go down to where it says Preferences. Again, it's going to remind us that our store is password protected, and we're okay with that. In this section, we're going to set up some of the preferences for our store. First up, we have our title and meta description. And the title and meta description just help define how your store shows up in search engines. For the homepage title, we're just going to put the name of our store, and I'm just going to use a sample name. And I'm just going to add a little description of what my store sells. And then we have our homepage meta description. And this is just a description that will help you get better rankings in search engines. So I'm just going to describe my store. At some point, you'll go through an exercise of optimizing your store for search engines. And this will be an area where you can come and add more into your homepage title and your homepage meta description to give your site more visibility in search engines. And we're going to move to our next section, which is social sharing image. Here you can enter in an image that'll be shown on your social media sites if you share a page from your site. This is not something you'll need to set up now, but you can always come back here. Shopify gives you the recommended size of the image, so you can use something like Canva to come in and design an image that will represent your store. Next, we have Google Analytics. And if you're just setting up your store, you probably have not set up anything related to Google Analytics, and this is a whole topic in itself, so we're just going to leave this blank for now. Moving on down to Facebook Pixel, this is another thing that you will come back and set up later, and it's related to marketing your store and keeping track of your visitors. But again, just leave this blank for now. And now we're going to scroll down to customer privacy. And here you can select whether you're going to collect before consent or collect after consent. And right now we're just going to leave it at the default value of collect before consent. Next, we have limit data collection for customers residing in U.S. states, and by default is deactivated. And as we can read here, under certain U.S. state privacy laws, customers have the right to opt out of the sale of their data. And Shopify gives you a link to where you can learn more about U.S. state privacy laws. So I recommend going in and reading that and deciding whether you are going to leave this deactivated or activated. And next we have password protection, and this is where it's set up by default to password protect your website so visitors can't see your site while it's under construction. So after your site is ready to go live, this is where you will come in and uncheck this checkbox that restricts access to visitors unless they have a password. And right now, if you want to know the password for your site, because by default it is password protected, that password is here, and you can change this password to be anything you want it to be. You also have the option to leave a message to your visitors. So right now you can say something like, please come back later, our site is under construction. But if you were working with different vendors, or if you were trying to get feedback on your site, you could give a limited amount of people this password, and they could come in, put in that password, and view your site. And then finally, we have spam protection. And this is where you can enable or disable spam protection for Google. And then finally, to save the changes that we've made to this page, we're just going to hit save. And we can choose save down here at the bottom, or we can choose save up here at the top. Shopify will let us know that our settings have been saved. In this section, we're going to edit our settings. And these are the behind-the-scenes settings that are going to allow our store to operate properly. We're going to go to our main menu. We're going to go all the way to the bottom and hit Settings. On the Settings page, there are a number of back-end settings that we'll need to configure for our store. Now, we won't go through all of these, but we'll touch on the main ones that you need to configure now to get your store up and running. We're going to start with Store Details, which is the first item in the list. The first thing that we need to configure here is our profile. We can edit our profile by clicking on the pencil icon next to Profile. And here we're going to give our store a name. Now, I'm sure you've noticed as we've been configuring our online store, it said My Store. And you might have been wondering when we were going to change that. And we did not do that when we were setting up our online store because we could do that here in the settings. So now I'm going to give my store a name. And this is going to be the name that appears on our store website. Then we have our store phone and then our store email address. And our store email address is where we'll receive messages about our store. Now that we have our profile set up, we're going to select Save. Next, we have our billing information, and we can click on the pencil icon, and we can enter in our legal business name, our country and region, our business address, our city, our state, and our zip code. And once you've added this information, select Save. In the next section, we're going to select our store currency. I am in the US, so I'm going to leave mine as US dollar, but change your store currency accordingly. Next, we're going to move down to time zone and unit of measure. Mine is set to Eastern because I'm in the Eastern time zone. You can change yours to the appropriate time zone for you. And then you can go in and change your unit system and default weight unit. So here mine is set to imperial and pounds. Next, we're going to go down to order ID. And this is if you want a prefix or a certain suffix with your order IDs. And Shopify gives you an example. So it says your order ID will appear as hashtag 1001, hashtag 1002, and that's because I have a hashtag here. But let's say I wanted my order numbers to start with something like TR hashtag. And then you'll see that my order numbers will have TR hashtag 1001. And if you wanted to add a suffix, you could do the same. It's going to add the same TR, and you see how it'll put TR at the end of our order number. So I'm just going to remove the suffix, and I'm going to leave the hashtag because that is how I like my order numbers to appear. And then once we make all of the changes that we need to make on this page, we will go ahead and hit save. Now we're going to move to our next menu item, and that's going to be plan. Now, if you are still in your trial period, you can skip over plan because once your trial period ends, Shopify is going to prompt you to choose a plan. If you're ready to choose your plan now, you can click on plan, and you can see here I'm on the basic Shopify plan and I'm being charged $1 a month. And then in my fourth month, I'm going to be charged $39. I am okay with this plan, so I'm not going to hit change plan. I'm going to leave it as is. I can also go in and change my payment method on the plan page as well. If you've selected a plan and you want to know more about how you're going to be charged, you can move to this billing option. I'm not going to move here in this tutorial because it has some sensitive information on that tab. Next, we're going to move to payments. And this is where you set up how your customers are going to pay you on your website. In order to take payments from your customers in your online store, you need to have a payment provider. Shopify has its own payment provider, which is called Shopify Payments. And Shopify Payments allows you to accept credit cards from your customers. Shopify Payments makes it really easy to set up credit card processing for your site. To learn more about Shopify Payments and what they're going to charge you to process payments, I suggest clicking on Learn More to get the details. Once you're here, you can learn all about Shopify Payments, how much they're going to charge you for both domestic and international purchases, and more. If you decide to move forward with Shopify Payments, you'll need to start the process and submit the information about your business to become verified. Next, we'll move down to some additional payment methods. And this is where you can set up some additional ways to accept payments from your customers. The first option that they have here by default is PayPal. And PayPal is a recognizable way that people like to pay for goods on the internet because it gives them payment protection. If you'd like to accept PayPal payments from your site, which is also another way that people can pay you using credit cards, you can come here and complete the PayPal setup. You can also add other payment methods, and you can do that by clicking on Add Payment Method and going in and searching by payment method or by provider. For example, if I just click in the search box, you can see that we have a lot of different payment methods we can use. If any of these are familiar to you and you're set up to use these, you can connect them here, or you can go search by provider, click in the search by provider box, and you can see that there are a lot of other payment processors like JP Morgan Chase, Affirm, Afterpay, all of these different payment providers that you can use. And you can set these up and allow customers to pay you using these payment methods as well. After you set up your additional payment methods, you can scroll down and configure when you're going to authorize payments. So right now we're set to automatic at checkout. If you click on manage, you can see your options here. You can authorize payments automatically at checkouts. You can authorize payments automatically when an order is fulfilled. And this is similar to Amazon. So you notice how your credit card is not charged by Amazon until your order ships. So this would be this option. And then you can authorize payments manually. On my site, I leave it automatically at checkouts because I want the payment to be processed and then I will work on the order. But what you choose here is up to you. And then you have two other options that allow you to configure manual payment methods and then payment method customizations. We're not going to worry about any customizations as we're just setting up our site. And then we're also not going to worry about capturing payments outside of our online store because right now we're just setting up our online store. Next, we're going to go down to policies. And this is where we're going to set up policies like our privacy policy and our policies for shipping and returns. First, let's start with our return policy. And this is where you tell your customers your policies on returns. Shopify allows you to turn on and off your return rules, and right now they're turned off. To turn them on, simply select Turn On. If you decide to accept returns and you turn your return rules on, then you'll need to decide what those return rules will be. By default, we have returns accepted for 30 days, free return shipping, no restocking fee, and no final sale items. To change any of these options, click on Manage. And here you can define your return rules. You can define your return window, and I'm going to leave mine on 30 days. You can decide how you want to handle return shipping costs, and for me, the customer pays for return shipping. Unless it's a problem that I've made in my store, then I pay for those returns, but normally the customer will pay for the return shipping. And then I click here if I want to charge a restocking fee, and I do not. But if you wanted to charge a restocking fee, you would check the box and then enter in what that restocking fee would be. Next, you have final sale items, and this is where you can classify certain products as final sale, meaning that they do not qualify for returns. And you can classify items by specific collections or specific products. So let me give you an example of this. I sell some custom t-shirts, hoodies, and sweatshirts, meaning that my customers can customize them with a name or a date. Those items, I do not allow refunds or exchanges because they're customized. But I do allow refunds and exchanges on my regular t-shirts designs. So what I would do is set my personalizable collection as final sales items. And then down at the bottom, what you have is a summary of the return rules that you've selected. So 30-day return window, customer provides shipping, no restocking fee, and right now I have no final sale items, although I would add those later. And once I got this the way I wanted it, I would go to the top and hit save. Now we're going to move back and finish setting up our policies. So now we have our return policy set. If we scroll down, we'll see an area where we need to add a written return and refund policy. You can write this yourself or you can create it from a template. If you want to use Shopify's template, just select Create from Template. And Shopify will give you a ready-made written return and refund policy. All you need to do at this point is read through it and add in your information. So you can see here you need to add in your email address. You need to add in your return address, and you would need to edit and add in your email address in this section. So you would just read through this template and add in your information. And now we're going to move down to our privacy policy. And just like with the return policy, you can write your own privacy policy, or you can use Shopify's template by clicking on Create from Template. You would then need to read through this privacy policy template and make the needed changes to customize it for your business. Next, we're going to move down to Terms of Service. And again, we're going to go Create from Template. We're going to read through this template and customize it for our business. Next, we're going to move down to our shipping policy. And here you would need to enter in what you would like your shipping policy to be. Shopify does not provide you with a shipping policy template, so you'll need to fill this information out on your own. And then finally, you have contact information, and contact information is required if you're selling in the EU. There is a template you can use. Select Create from Template, and you would go in and customize this information for your business. And then if we scroll to the very bottom, you can see that Shopify is giving you the option to add Shopify Inbox. Shopify Inbox is an app that you can add to your site that will allow you to chat with your customers. Shopify Inbox is free, and it is a great way for you to drive sales and stay connected with your customers. So I do recommend going and setting this up at a later time. But for right now, we're going to go up and save our changes. We've added our policy, so we're going to scroll up to go back to the settings menu. The next thing we're going to set up is your domain, and this is how people will find your store on the internet. Right now, as you're setting up your account, Shopify is giving you a temporary domain, and you can see here right under my store, it says ba35d9-3.myshopify.com. Now, we do not want our customers to have to locate our store this way, so we want to add our custom domain. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to domains. And this is where we can buy or connect a domain. If you do not already have a domain name, you can buy one right from inside of Shopify, or you can buy one outside of Shopify. I normally use GoDaddy, but you can use any domain provider, purchase that domain from that domain provider, and then come here and connect it. But again, you can see here that the current domain for my store is this ba35d9-3.myshopify.com, and it's connected to my online store. So what I want to do is add my own custom domain here. If you'd like to buy your domain from Shopify, you can click on Buy New Domain, and then you can go in and search for the domain name of your choice. So in this example, I think I've been using Trendy Shirts. So let's see if trendyshirts.com is available. So I type in trendyshirts.com and wait to see the results. And you can see here trendyshirts.com isn't available, but they give me some other options. So I could do trendyshirts.org, .info, .online, .ac, or .academy. And then I'll get the prices for each one of these options. I normally like to stick with .com, but that's just my choice. But you can see how you can go here and search for the domain name of your choice. We're going to go back. And then by the same token, you can also use a service like GoDaddy and purchase your name from them. So let's go over to GoDaddy and see how that process would work. So I'm now on GoDaddy, and you can see how I can enter in and search for the domain name that I want. And I'm just going to enter trendyshirts.com again, even though I know it's already taken. I'm going to select Search Domains. And then I'm going to see that trendyshirts.com is taken, but I could also get the trendyshirts.com, and GoDaddy is going to give me some options, and I can see the price for those options here. So let's pop back over to Shopify. Once we have our domain, whether we've purchased it from Shopify or another source, we can click on Connect Existing Domain. We can enter in our domain, and then it's going to walk us through the process of connecting our domain to our Shopify store. Another setting that we have to set up in our store before we can start taking order is our shipping settings. To get to our shipping settings, we're just going to scroll down to Shipping and Delivery. And here we're going to choose where we ship and how much we're going to charge for our shipping at checkout. We're going to start with our general shipping rates. And right now we're setting up a general rate for all products. And these rates are going to be for domestic and international. So we're going to click on this arrow and go in and configure our shipping rates. As we get started, we can see that this profile is going to be applied to all of our products, and it's going to show that first product that we added. We're going to scroll down and then go with our shipping origin. Now, our shipping origin is going to automatically be set to our business address. And for me, that is okay. But if you're going to be shipping from a different location than your business address, you would click on this pencil here and edit your shipping origin. Next, you're going to configure your shipping zones and the rates that you're going to charge within that zone. So we're going to start with domestic. And for me, I live in the United States. So the United States is considered domestic shipping for me. And then I'm going to configure my rates within the United States. So you can see here by default, I have rates set up for economy and standard. And within those rates, I have the condition that's going to determine when that rate is charged. I have the transit time for that rate and the price that I want to charge for that rate. So here by default is saying economy shipping for any item that is $50 and up. We'll have a transit time of 5 to 8 business days, and that is going to be free. While I also have an economy rate for items that weigh 0 to 5 pounds, and this could apply for anything that is under $50. The transit time is also going to be 5 to 8 business days, and I'm going to charge a flat rate of $4.90. And you can see how their economy rates were set up for items that are between 5 and 70 pounds with the same transit time, but I'm charging a little bit more, which will be $19.90. And then we have a standard rate, again split up in 2 weight classes between 0 and 1 pound and 1 and 5 pounds. And if you use standard, you get 3 to 4 business day shipping. And those prices for those rates are $6.90 and $9.90. So this is what is set up by default. You can also add additional rates or edit these that are already set up for you. To add an additional rate, click on Add Rate, and then you're going to say you're going to set your own rate, or you're going to use a carrier or app to calculate rates. So let's say you wanted to set a rate that it was based on the weight of an item and you wanted to use the carrier to set it up. You can select on Use Carrier, and you can say, I want to offer UPS shipping. If you go into this drop down, you can see UPS shipping and USPS shipping. So let's say we're going to set up UPS shipping. We can say, I want to offer the following UPS services. You can say you want to offer UPS Ground, UPS Next Day Air, UPS Next Day Air Saver, and UPS 2-Day Air. After you choose your selections, you can scroll down and say automatically show new shipping services to customers when they become available. And I do suggest checking this box. And then you can put in whether you're going to charge a handling fee. You can do that as a percentage or a flat rate. And once you've configured this the way that you want it to be configured, you would click on Done. And then you would have a new shipping rate listed, and you can see it here under Carrier and App Rates. So there's a separation between whether you're using carrier rates or your zones where you're using your rates. And then you would scroll down and do the same for your international shipping. And you can see that by default, you have DHL Express and USPS set up with calculated shipping. And once you're okay with your shipping zones and services, and your rates, you select Save. And you can see here, because I selected UPS, Shopify is asking me to register with UPS. I would simply go through and confirm the options that I need to confirm, and then I would submit and continue the process of registering with UPS. And now my shipping profile is updated. So let's run through the setup guide. You've added your first product. You have set up your online store by adding in your sharing details, and you've customized your template. And at this point, you should have also added your custom domain. Now, I haven't added it here because this is a test store, but you should have a check mark here. Next, we're going to move down. You have named your store. You've set up your shipping rates, and you've also taken the time to set up Shopify payments. So you should have a check mark here. Shopify gives you the option to place a test order. And to learn how to do that, simply click on Learn About Test Orders. And you'll be taken to the Help Center, where it'll give you the instructions to use to place a test order. Once you place your test order, you're ready to go. And to take your shop live, all you have to do is remove your store password. So we're going to click on Remove Store Password. So we're going to be taken back inside of our online store to the Preferences area, where we can scroll down to the bottom of the page and remove our password. To remove our password, we'll simply uncheck this box. You also notice that the setup guide is also on this page, and you can remove the password by clicking on Remove Password here as well. And after you do this, your store will be live, and visitors can access your store using your domain name and begin shopping. You've made it to the end of the video, and I am so proud of you. And more importantly, you should be proud of yourself. If you have more questions, I have lots of free resources in the description. You can also leave your questions in the comments. If you found value in this video and you haven't already done so, please like this video and subscribe. It really goes a long way towards helping my channel. Until next time, see you soon.